welcome to Talking Shop and SFX podcast. I am Kim Lonning, here as always with our Chief Academic Officer, Andy Schoneberg.
Cue the choir, the heavenly choir of angels.
Okay, I shouldn't try to harmonize. So today we are talking about the 1995 film Mortal Kombat.
Oh, do we have to?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
It was directed by Paul Anderson, who did direct one of the films we had already talked about, AVP, and also did the Resident Evil movies. And upon its release, Mortal Kombat was the highest grossing video game adaptation movie of its time. Which changed with Pokemon, the first movie that came out just 3 years later. So it wasn't a long-lived record. So this was another project from Amalgamated Dynamics Incorporated.
ADI, yeah.
Studio ADI. All that you guys really worked on, and you worked on it a lot, because I've heard war stories about it, is the character of Goro.
Yeah, I don't recall us doing another thing on the movie. It was all Goro all the time. But Goro kept us busy, and you wouldn't think that it would be the case, but the arms were a real challenge. Yeah. And
for those that don't know, Goro is the four-armed character from Mortal Kombat.
And Goro has 4 arms and an impossibly long ponytail.
Yes. He's
like a big, bad genie.
Yeah, makes sense. Take me back. When you first were brought on to the project, where were you in that plan? Did they already have the design for Goro? Where did you kind of come in?
Well, Goro was designed on the video game, so in that respect, they had a design for him. But with the arms, you've got 2 choices, as far as I can tell. You can put the additional arms on top of the existing human arms, or you can put the additional arms underneath the existing human arms. And ADI opted to get the extra height by having a false head and shoulders above Tom's head and shoulders in the suit, because Tom is in the suit. Building a set of fully operational mechanical arms is a lot of moves, as one of the mechanics explained to me on the show. You think about it, there's the shoulders, which do this, and this and this and this and this. And that's a hard number of movements to replicate. Then you've got the elbows, but you've also got the twist this way. You've got all the fingers. It's a lot of nitpicky stuff.
Yeah.
And they determined pretty early on that the servos that existed at the time, and probably still, are not powerful enough to raise and lower arms without causing a huge draw in the electronics, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
By the time I got there, they had pretty much settled on they were going to do the arms as cable controlled.
Okay.
But that meant that they had to have a prodigious amount of cable on those things to move them at the range that they needed to move. And they built these big cable boxes, and that held all the pulleys and the motors that pulled the cables back and forth, et cetera. And they were all bundled and came out of Goro's ass. The first thing I saw them building was making a carbon fiber bullet-shaped shell that went over Tom's head. And I said, "What's that for?" I said, "Carbon fiber, really?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's you don't want one of those cables to break in there and whip you in the face.
Oh gosh,
it'll kill you.
Yeah.
It's under so much pressure or tension."
How heavy was the second part of the body? So I watched the movie in 2 parts. I watched the first half of it Sunday and then the second half last night. Because it was a experience to get through. There was fun parts in the movie where I was as a fan, because I used to go to arcades as a kid and play Mortal Kombat. Although I will say I'm more of a Street Fighter person than a Mortal Kombat person. So they had fun nods, but I did have to break it up and how I watched it. There's a lot of body above where the shoulders are. How heavy was the thing that was sat on top of Tom's shoulders?
It was 175 pounds.
Jesus, that's a whole lot. That's a whole person.
Yeah. So Tom was basically giving a piggyback ride to someone the entire time he was in the suit.
Oh my gosh.
He was really restricted in that he had the big gloves on, which had 2 fingers instead of 4 and a thumb. He had a 1 inch by 1 inch black and white TV screen on the inside of the bullet. That was his entire contact with the outside world. He had a headset that he wore that provided him with audio. He also had an airflow system in there to provide him with fresh air, or as occasionally happened with air that had been farted in.
Oh no, that's hilarious.
We had one of the mechanics who loved walking up to the vent, the intake vent for the fresh air, and just farting in it while Tom was in the suit.
That's amazing.
Tom would be in there and he'd go, "Oh, Jesus Christ!"
Yeah, that pretty much sums up, I think, any experience on set.
Yeah,
like there are like even with like in a lab, there's a lot of fun jokes when you can.
Yeah.
And a lot of fart humor.
But the arms were electronic in that it was just all the spools they had to be able to be tightened up and loosened in a very short amount of time. And
so you can move in like a natural way.
You'd hear those cables just flying inside those cable boxes, and they were closed when the thing was operating because the same tensions they were worried about in here, they had to worry about at the cable box. But it was speedy operation, and they never quite got them able to return to the same location that they were to start with. So you'd get the arm worked down into this position, for instance. There was a shot where they wanted to do Tom's hand picking up an orange, passing the orange to the mechanical hand, and the mechanical hand grabs the orange and brings it up to Goro's face.
Yeah.
And they were able to get this part with Tom very easily. But because the arms would go off center whenever they'd been through a big move, the arm would pick up the orange and go up here to Goro's face, and then they'd try and bring the hand back down, and it would go down like this.
Oh no.
Or it would go down like this.
Oh.
Or it would go down like this. It was a challenge. I think we spent half a day trying to get that shot.
It actually kind of shocked me watching the movie because I've heard, whisperings about Goro throughout, my years in being surrounded by makeup effects. I thought he was just in a few scenes. He's in a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
He's in a lot, and he's doing a lot.
Yeah.
How, but I also heard that a lot of his scenes did end up getting cut because they just couldn't get it right. How was, because you talked about how difficult it was just to pass an orange. How was it for the fight scene and fighting with Goro?
Well, I'll say I wasn't there for a lot of the filming.
Yeah.
There were issues all the way around with Goro. I mean, it was, production wasn't making very puppeteer-friendly deals. They had a limited number of slots available for puppeteers, and I was a puppeteer at the time, but not able to get a puppeteer rate. Oh. So Alec and Tom just said, well, we'll just have you come down and do some repairs on Goro. And that's what I did. I would get a call in the afternoon. Hey, we're going to have to take Goro's head off tonight, so come on down. So I'd go down, they'd take Goro's head. I'd help them take Goro's head off. They'd take the head off. They'd fix the problem that was whatever it was in the neck, usually. And then they'd put Goro's head back on. And then I would glue everything back down and put all the patching appliances around the edge of the neck appliance and repaint him and then go home. It happened like almost every night when he first started working. Yeah. And I told the guy who did the mechanics for the head, I said, it's easy enough for you to say, well, take the head off. Yeah. Because you're here for 5 minutes while you fix it. Yeah. And then I'm here for 2.5 hours putting everything back together and painting it.
We already talked about like the difficulty of the wiring within him. What other challenges you came across when going through the build of him?
And it's it's all water under the bridge at this point. I'll just say this right up front.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the issues with him as a way of educating people who are new to makeup effects. Yeah. As areas to look out for. It's Goro's done. He's been in a box for a long time.
For, gosh, 30 years now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy with Goro, even though I have these anecdotes that I can tell that make it sound like I'm not. So don't think that I'm bad-mouthing anybody, or it's just, it's a story to
educate.
Yeah.
That's all that this is just, a chance to learn about
It's Aesop's fables.
Yeah.
So it's things to look out for on the road to making a better Goro. We had one incident where we put the arm skins on Goro, and they seemed really super small. Like they had to be stretched around the bicep cylinders and stuff a lot, and then stitched up. And I said, "What's the deal with that? Did you not measure this?" Yeah, we measured. Show me how you measured.
Oh, gosh.
So we go to the mold, and as you know, molds have flashing on the sides, the flanges, and then the sculpture there in the middle. And they measured the widest part of the bicep across the opening of the mold, which if you were measuring a perfect cylinder would be fine, except that Goro's arm had cuts in where the bicep was and big bulgy areas and all that. So that doesn't provide you with anything. You've got a cylinder like this, but there are areas of that cylinder that are cut in like that. So you should be measuring here instead of here. We got over it. There were workarounds. It was a small piece of foam latex to go over the whole thing, and we had to build up the bicep and all that to make it look like it had some structure to it.
Yeah.
But the piece was stretched out incredibly tight across the cylinder there.
Is there something you guys, like when you came across it, that was the issue with the mold? Did you guys end up running the foam in a different way to make it more like flexible?
Well, that was the other thing. The foam latex that was available at the time had some kind of something going on in it. As foam does occasionally, the chemicals get contaminated or whatever. It's all natural ingredients. It comes from a rubber tree, and if the rubber tree produces latex that's not quite as good as its last batch, then that happens sometimes. And so we fell through in this period of time where Vinny just could not get foam pieces out that didn't deteriorate quickly.
And Vinny, Mark Vigniello?
Mark Vigniello,
okay.
And Mark was a good foam runner even then, so we were looking at that and just going, why are these things just... It seemed like by the time the fabricators were done putting the pieces onto the understructure, that they were already starting to deteriorate. And we'd patch with foam latex patching and cure it, and then it would start deteriorating around the edge of the patching. And it was bad.
Oh, geez. You're just constantly trying to catch up and try to make it
So we joked that, and it wasn't much of a joke, it was pretty true, that by the time we got Goro in front of the camera, he was 90% patches.
Oh, wow.
It was a tough one. It was, everybody felt that they were doing their surefire best to get everything to be as high quality as it normally was, and it was difficult. At the beginning of the shoot, Alec came up to me with the Goro head, and he had sculpted the whole thing and detailed it. And he said, "What do you think about this?" I said, "I think that detail is way overblown." And he goes, "Really?" I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "And I don't think the ears are set in properly, and I don't think the nose is set in properly." And he said, "Well, go ahead and fix it." So I did that. I felt like I got a little time in on Goro's face. That was fun and nice of Alec to let me call him out on a couple of things.
Yeah. It's always good because Alec Gillis, obviously owner with Tom Woodruff Jr. Of Studio ADI. So it's nice that the owner is like, yeah, please help me, please fix.
Yeah. Well, and it speaks a lot about Alec's personality that he doesn't have a big ego about it. He just wants it to be good. And if somebody tells him something or sees something that can be better, he's all for it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was nice of him to do.
Did you have like any anxieties about like releasing it to set?
Yeah, I think you always have that. Some things you've got a high degree of confidence because it is obvious that it looks really cool, and et cetera. Goro had his issues, but Goro looked cool when Tom was in the suit. You know, that reveal in the movie of the curtains opening or the doors opening and Goro standing there.
Yeah.
Like this, or as he did frequently.
Yeah. Yep. Good Goro poses.
Yeah. So there was that, but it was obvious once they got there, Goro was not functioning as well as production would have liked, and not as well as we would have liked either. So production didn't like Goro. And it was my first time being on set with an effect that production did not like.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was to the point where they'd just go, all right, well, I guess we got to shoot Goro. Bring him out here.
Oh, no.
You know? You're just like, ooh, ouch. I heard people talking about it years later, and that's when I watched the movie, was years later. Because I had made some disparaging comment about Goro, and someone who worked in the shop or someone I was on set with or someone said, oh, I thought it was great. I said, really? They said, yeah, you'd never know that the stuff that you're talking about was the case because Goro looks fine in the movie.
Well, that's what I think I was kind of surprised with when watching the movie. I was like, oh, this is great. Like, Goro's solid. But, you know, knowing a few people that have worked on the film and who have talked about their experience, like I know a little bit of the background, obviously now a little bit more of the background. So it's what I think I like about sometimes film, or really anything, any form of art. Sometimes things are not going the way that you want it to, but you're like, screw it, we got to make it work somehow, and you find a way to like persevere, and it ends up being okay. Or you can film it in certain ways. I know a few scenes got cut and stuff. Can you talk about any other experience? It could be from this film or another where you've kind of just had to like set everything aside and just be like, all right, let's just get it done. Let's just focus and hone in.
Yeah, oh yeah. There have certainly been either films or portions of a film where it just was like, all right, well, this isn't working the way that it's supposed to, so what can we do to
Have you ever
get that out of it?
Have you ever had a situation where you're like, this isn't working the way you wanted it, or you thought it was going to work, you change it, and then that ends up being better than what you had originally thought and what the original plan was?
Boy, I'm going to have to let that percolate for a while.
Okay. Anything else from like your memories of Mortal Kombat, good, bad, or ugly, that you'd want to share with our lovely audience, and or just as lessons learned?
Yeah. Well, and again, don't take this as anything but the opportunity for a chance to make it work and to be better, you know, than what maybe than what you originally thought you were going to get out of it. I'm the king naysayer. I'm the first guy on the crew to go, this isn't going to work. You know, well, maybe not first anymore, because we had a couple of incidents on Walking Dead where we'd unpack stuff out of a box. And a couple of guys on the crew were infamous for looking at anything that had just been unboxed and going, well, that's a piece of shit.
Oh, no.
So you just kind of roll with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go, well, let's see what we can do. And they'd inevitably, within 15 minutes, they'd have fixed it to be better than it was when it came from the shop.
I know, actually, that's one thing that I talk to students here about, because they'll do like a foam run, or they'll do a few foam runs, and they're like, they're all crap. And I'm like, make it work.
Yeah.
I was like, now's a chance to learn, because that same thing is probably going to happen to you on set or somewhere else, and you're going to have to make it work, and there's going to be a lot more pressure there than there is here. When things go poorly, or when things don't work out, sometimes, not that I prefer things not to work out, but sometimes it's nice to have those opportunities to really kind of think outside of the box and find a new solution, and think critically on how to solve, you know, whatever issue you came across. And especially here, we're a school, now's the time to make those mistakes and make those errors and figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Times that you have to step back and look at what the situation is objectively to see how you can make it work. So we were talking about the unborn. And there was a dog in the unborn that was supposed to wear this mask that looked like a human face. And they could not get the dog to wear the mask. I said, well, let me see the mask and bring the dog over here. So they brought the dog over. And I put the mask on, and the dog does this immediately, knocks it off his face. So I put it on again, and I noticed that the edge of the mask would come right down over the dog's nostrils when it was fully on.
Okay.
So I put it on, and I held it above the nostrils, and the dog didn't move. I put it down over the nostrils, knocked it off. So I cut out the little area there that was blocking the nostrils and put the mask back on the dog. He wore it all day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any advice you have for people wanting to come into the industry with the lessons that you learned from this particular film?
It's funny, when it came time to paint Goro, no one really had settled on a paint scheme. I think in the game he's yellow with brown spots or something, and we didn't want to do that. So we had the artist, I think it was Carlos Huante at the time, do some colored renderings of Goro. And the thing that looked best was for him to just be brown.
Sometimes the more simple thing is the thing that looks better.
Yeah. I think it's a good call to just keep things as
natural as possible.
Natural as possible.
Cool. So now is the time of the podcast, since it's Mortal Kombat, for us to fight.
Fight!
Yeah, I'm kidding. Just so you know, throughout this entire conversation, the only thing that plays into my head is Mortal Kombat, and then it's the theme song. All right, well, thank you for talking about Mortal Kombat with me and reliving some of the fun war stories of Goro.
Oh, I will say one other little aside.
Yeah.
The first guy I worked for in L.A. was a guy named Moni Monsanto. He worked for Canon Films and was running their makeup lab, Canon Lab, which was in Van Nuys. And he was the makeup department head on Mortal Kombat. I hadn't seen him since I left there after going bananas. But he was great. It was fun to see him. And
yeah, this is a really small industry. You run into the same people over and over again, sometimes years and years later. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. We are here every Monday with new episodes. If you're interested in makeup effects, stay tuned on our social medias. And if you want to learn more, go to our website at cinemamakeup.com.
Or just come take a class.
All right. Bye. Okay. Perfect.